Google Stadia, Mr. Black, has become officially the Schrodinger's cat of gaming services, as there are both a lot of supposedly credible insider leaks by employees currently working there that have been passing around what would be internal memos on the kind of the roadmap to shutting it down in the last week or so. But also, Google continues to publicly say, "All of that's bullshit. Stadia is not going anywhere." The current, I guess, reports from the internal side of things seem to point towards a late summer, fall type situation where Stadia might be going bye-bye. And so we don't have to wait too much longer to find out who's telling the truth and who's lying. Or if there's just been some sort of massive corporate pivot where they were considering it and then decided to keep it around. But you know what? It's Google Stadia. It's Google. Like, if you think about how many services Google has started up and then immediately, or not immediately, but like in the first couple of years, shut down. Stadia is ripe to be another one of those on the body counts. It's probably not doing all that hot. I have to assume it's burning a lot of money. I haven't heard until I saw this news piece here. I haven't heard a whisper about Stadia for what feels like months. Like, I know it exists. It's there, supposedly. People are apparently using it. How many? I don't know how many people. I'm going to say less than 7 are using it currently. But they've got to be just burning money. You haven't heard about them saying, you haven't even heard Stadia come out and be like, "Hey, this game is coming to Stadia this month. Play this game on Stadia. Woo Stadia." Nothing. Zero marketing, zero anything for like ages and ages. So I don't know what they're doing over there, but it wouldn't shock me if it was true that they are likely going to be shutting Stadia down in the not too distant future. So we'll wait and see. What's your bet, Mr. Black? Is Stadia shutting down 2022, or is Google going to drag this dead horse a little further along behind the cart before sending it off into the sun?
I mean, it's already dead, but
it could always be more dead.
Yeah, I honestly think what they're gonna do is, I actually don't think they're gonna shut down Stadia. I think it's still gonna be there, but it's gonna turn into something else. I think it's gonna be a shell of what it was before, and they're gonna pivot into something. And so when they say Stadia isn't going anywhere, I kind of believe it. But it's gonna be not what it originally was supposed to be. That's my prediction.
So killing it, but not technically killing it. Shifting it so that they can say they haven't technically shut the service down, but not keeping it as it is currently in its present form.
It might vaguely have things to do with what it was before, but I think they're just going to go in a different direction with it. I could be wrong about that. They might just shut it all down and like the brand itself is fucked. So they might, but like also I just don't think the masses know about Stadia. So I think that they can probably pivot. Like the ones that are in the gaming industry that really know, like my neighbor has Stadia.
Fuck off.
Yeah, dude. And
you actually know a person?
I know a person. He's not my next
door neighbor. And they're close to you?
It would take me 4 minutes to walk to his house.
Wow.
I could play it.
That's a unicorn.
And he's a very, very casual gamer.
Yeah.
And the last time I talked to him about Stadia was probably like 7 or 8 months ago. And he said that, he uses it occasionally. And that was pretty much it. It's not even like his main gaming thing, but for the most part, and he's like a bit of a nerdy gamer. Like he's not like super on it like we are, because we're like in the industry, but like he's one of those people that would know about Stadia. The majority of gamers don't know about Stadia, and the vast majority, I would imagine, the ones that are actually buying and using Stadia are quite literally guys like him that are, in their early 40s. They're gamers. They grew up playing games. They have family. They have career. They just want to pop on the cloud, play a game, call it a day. They don't want to go out and buy, this or that and go. he's not up to date on everything. He just pops in, sees what he wants to play and play. The 15, 16, 17-year-old gamers, they ain't out there buying Stadia. That shit ain't for them. They're playing fucking Fortnite and PUBG on mobile. They're playing all these other games that we like to play. They're playing Grand Theft Auto and all these other shit. Ain't none of them. There are very few. I mean, if you got 100 17, 16, 18-year-olds in a line and you ask them all if they own Stadia, I would say 99 of them don't, if not 100. And then if you were to even ask 100 of them, do you even know what Stadia is? I would say maybe 20 of them heard about a Stadia. And, that's all they did, just heard about it. So like it's too soon. In order for Stadia to work, all these consoles, the PS5, this might be a hot take, but the PS5, the Xbox, Nintendo. I mean, Nintendo's kind of on their own, but we'll just say the PlayStation, Xbox, even PC. All of this stuff would already need to fully be out on the cloud. Like it's almost as if the consoles need to go out and do the groundwork to make gaming on the cloud something that is known universally and that people trust and want to use. Stadia, that it not only does it not have a name for itself, like, yeah, okay, Google, but like, okay, sure. Amazon does all kinds of things, and there's a lot of shit that just goes, people don't give a fuck. What, because you're going to say it's Amazon? Who gives a shit?
Woo.
Or it's because it's Google, or it's because of whatever. You got to make a name for yourself. Stadia hasn't done that. And they're trying to basically create a market that is a little bit before its time. How can you do that? They all the money in the world ain't gonna make that happen. Stadia needed to come out, like, in my opinion, after Xbox and PlayStation, all of them have made the cloud a norm, and then came out and did what they did, but did it a little bit better or did it in a different way and just made it easier. But they didn't. So they're dead, and they will stay dead unless they pivot. And even then, it might, whatever they're doing probably won't work.
Yeah, I think you right towards the end there, you said something that I think is probably really important, and I think they just kind of, I think they gambled on it and lost. But anytime you're trying to be a first to market or or like one of the first movers in any given market, when you're assessing the market and the viability of it, especially in the tech industry where everything moves so fucking quick, you've got to I have to assume you have to look at it and say, okay, and this is from the perspective of a company with $1 bajillion, like a Google or an Amazon. They look at it and say, okay, guys, so we have an opportunity to get in and be one of the first big three, maybe even the first big one, into this specific market, but the tech isn't quite there yet in the market that we are hoping to attract on a scale right now that will allow us to make any appreciable money. We have to float this and choose an entry point that is within a number of years that we can float it before that market exists. And we've already been there, so there's a name, and then they just immediately choose us instead of jumping in with something else, is the hope. And so I guess for Stadia, maybe when Google first started doing this, they looked at tech in terms of what was available in their primary markets for internet connection stability, just the speed and the stability of every internet connection in the market that they were hoping to grab, which would be mostly North America, I would imagine at this point, and perhaps spots in Europe would have been their primary markets. And the problem is, especially in the US, which would have been their primary market, internet fucking sucks ass. Yeah. 90% of the time. There are very few spots in America that you can have, or the US that you can have, good ass, speedy internet that also has good connection quality. Because there's a difference between having good connection quality and fast speeds, and then fast speeds and poor connection quality. Just having a fast internet doesn't mean that Stadia would be like this great experience for you, for example. So I think they looked at it and said, all right, maybe we've got 5 years, and it will be there. And now here we are, and we're mostly into that. We're a good chunk in. I can't even remember this would have been based on when they would have even started the genesis point of it, but let's say it is about 5 years now. And we're nowhere close.
Nah, bro.
Not even remotely. And so
Stadia's
they've just
dead.
burned all that money.
It's gone.
And they either have to continue to sunk cost the fuck out of this shit, sunk cost fallacy, where they look at it like, oh, we're already this far. Send some more cash that way and keep this bitch afloat for another 5 years, or it's just going to be dead in the water and they're going to have to come back and try again, like you said, after others who are already in the market figure it out, popularize it, and then spend their money and try and buy their way into the market, which might have been the smarter thing the first time around. But they clearly can't care about it that much because they're not marketing it.
No, they don't.
At all.
I mean, what's the point? It's wasted funds at this point, right? I think they know that. It's like trying to market a movie that's just like dead on arrival. It's like, why would you keep throwing money at it? So good luck.
Godspeed.